active cases, we really can take lightly the threat that COVID-19 poses, and I'm here to tell you exactly why we cannot do that. But before we start on that, let me just quickly give you some statistics. Of course, today, as per the data released by the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the confirmed cases in India now stand at over 4.4 lakh. The number of discharges in the country is over 2.4 lakh, while the number of active cases is over 1.7 lakh. The worrisome aspect, however, is the number of deaths, which seem to be rising at an alarming rate. The number of deaths in the country are over 14,000. If we have to talk about the epicenter of COVID-19, do remember that as per the latest report, 70% of India's COVID-19 cases, so these are the few states which contribute close to 70% of the India's COVID-19 cases, and these states include Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Delhi and Gujarat. So Maharashtra, of course, goes without saying, continues to remain the epicenter of COVID-19 with over 1.35 lakh cases. The state has registered over 61,000 active cases. However, what comes as a breather is the number of recoveries, which continue to be more than that of active cases, as I mentioned in the beginning of our interaction, of my interaction with all of you. So the recoveries, of course, in the state here as well stand at over 67,000 cases, and over 6,200 people have lost their lives to this deadly pandemic. So now Delhi, which is the second worst affected state due to COVID-19, has seen over 62,000 confirmed cases so far. The national capital has over 23,000 active cases, while the discharges stand at 36,602. Beg your pardon. If I could have some water, please. So 2,233 people have succumbed to COVID-19, and in Tamil Nadu, the confirmed cases stand at 62,087. The number of discharges is at 34,112. So the active cases in the state are over 27,000. 794 people have died due to COVID-19. So Gujarat state has also registered over 27,000 confirmed cases. The state's recoveries stand at over 19,900, and the active cases are at 6,232, while 1,684 casualties have been reported so far. So Uttar Pradesh has seen over 18,000 cases so far, and over 11,000 people have been discharged, while 569 people have died of COVID-19. The active cases in Uttar Pradesh stand at 6,152. Do remember that the numbers are subject to change. So while we're talking about it, in the beginning I did mention that I'm going to talk about why is it very important for all of us to not undermine the threat that COVID-19 poses. Do remember that in several times, of course, in the past, WHO, the World Health Organization, has stated that many countries which have now seen a decline in the number of cases could witness a second peak, and in this case, second wave, or whatever you might want to call it. So in this case, now we are, of course, talking about South Korea. I'm going to give you some figures. The health officials in South Korea have also warned of a second wave in the country, which has so far been dealing with the virus quite effectively. Do remember that the state, the country, of course, was largely appreciated for the very fact that it did not go into lockdown. But even after that, we have seen that South Korea has not reported much cases. Only about 12,000 positive cases were registered in South Korea. But even after that, second wave is what one gets to witness in South Korea, especially that's what the health experts have, in fact, clarified, and that's what they have explained as well. So do remember that this comes in the backdrop of WHO's warning, as I said. The head of Korea Centers for Disease Control in the metropolitan area said, and I quote, she said that we believe that the first wave was from March to April as well as February to March. Then we see that the second wave, which was triggered by the May holiday, has been going on. So this is something that we all need to think about and think really hard. The fact is, of course, India might be continuously registering more recoveries, than we have the active cases. But clearly, do remember that in South Korea now a second wave has already started. China, the epicenter of COVID-19, Wuhan, of course, in the earlier days, now more or less the cases were settled there. But Beijing has now registered fresh COVID-19 cases. So which means that unless and until a cure is found, unless and until we have a vaccine with us, we really cannot undermine the threat that COVID-19 poses. And even after that, in this case, WHO has said that it may become endemic, which means that we may have to learn to live with it for the rest of our lives. Disciplined living is what we're anticipating. And what, of course, one gets to witness these days as well. Whenever we are stepping out, we've seen people wearing masks. Masks are the new normal, maintaining social distance as well, wearing gloves. Many people have been wearing gloves. But of course, these are all some things that I wanted to put pressure on. Talking about the fact that the recovery rate in India continues to move upwards. You might wonder what's the recovery rate today like. So 56.38% of the COVID-19 patients have been discharged. Now this is something which comes as a silver lining amidst the dark times. So here, as I've been continuously saying that COVID-19, many people think that I am safe because I am below the age of 60. But let me also tell you again, reiterate the same old stand, because many of you have seen, commenting or either questioning or personally texting me asking that, we are below the age of 60. So what if we're safe? But that's actually not the case. The fact is that even if you are below the age of 60, yes, above the age of 60, you're more vulnerable to contract the deadly virus. But below the age of 60, you can very well contract deadly virus. In this case, we have had cases as young as 3-month-old infant who also contracted the deadly virus. Whenever you're stepping out of your house, always remember that this is the new normal. Social distancing is the new normal. You have to maintain 6 feet distance. You have to make sure you're not, in fact, going to any any crowd. There's no crowd perhaps that's gathered. You also have to make sure that you're wearing mask, wearing gloves, and of course, if at all you think that you have mildly developed some symptoms of COVID-19, you should most certainly get yourself tested. Do remember that yesterday, of course, there was a meeting that was, chaired by Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa. Several of the health officials also attended the meeting, and in that meeting also it was discussed that why is it that the numbers in Bengaluru seem to be rising exponentially. In Karnataka as well, we seem to be reaching the 10,000 mark. We may breach the 10,000 mark of COVID-19 cases today itself, which means that Karnataka also, of course, in comparison to other states, seemingly doing well, but in the state as well, in Bengaluru particularly, the cases are rising at an alarming rate. Do always, in fact, know that you're not doing a favor to anyone if at all you're taking all the preventive measures. You're making sure that you're saving yourself, you're saving your loved ones, and of course the elderly at your home, particularly elderly at your home. Now that, several relaxations have been announced, many of you might go out and, attend your daily offices or whatever you might be doing. But whenever you're coming back to your home, you're making sure, I hope all of you all are making sure that whenever you're coming back, you're taking enough preventive measures. And I'm sure that all of your employers also must have set some guidelines for those who have been attending offices. Or in many such cases, we have been seeing that people still largely are working from home, which is a positive sign, because see, many things really have become now a new normal. Maybe a few months ago, none of us would have thought that working from home would be fun, but many of you now are actually okay, because I've been, of course, reading comments that all of you all send that saying that we are okay working from home. So like we're okay, with working from home, we must and we should be very, very okay with the fact that we have to now take enough preventive measures. The numbers in India are rising exponentially with each passing day. 14,000, 15,000 is the fresh COVID-19 numbers that one gets to witness. Do remember that right now, there is no cure. With cure a distant dream, we might as well take enough preventive measures and take care of ourselves. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this Facebook Live interaction was helpful for all of you. Do not forget to subscribe News9 YouTube, like us on News9 Instagram, Facebook as well as Twitter. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay safe.